Привет, друзья! С вами Саша Рок-н-ролл, вы смотрите Рок-н-ролл ТВ, и сегодня мы будем беседовать с группой Buzzcocks. Hi, Steve.
Hi, nice to meet you.
How you doing?
Good, yes.
First, can you tell me about your feelings of being in Russia, Moscow? What do you like the most here?
There's a good spirit here from what I know, you know. I've said this before, but I know a lot of Russia through Dostoevsky's eyes, though, right? I said that before. Playing in Moscow a few years ago, I'd see there's Buzzcocks fans and, you know, people are into the music here. Same with St. Petersburg last night. It was a crazy gig, you know, full of atmosphere, a very good rocking show, you know. A lot of people knew the songs, and it's nice to make it here after all these years, really. You know, many years ago, bands couldn't get into Russia to sing. But one thing you do learn is that people are the same everywhere. You know, the music's a universal thing and brings us all together.
Right, that's right. I heard that you like also Solzhenitsyn, Russian writer.
Oh yes, yes.
And what can you say about it? How did you know him? And what are your favorite books?
Well, it's only growing up when you're trying to find out what other countries are like when you're young. You know, they're going, America's here, Russia's here, Britain's there. And, you know, it's just that thing where you try and figure out, well, you know, what people's cultures are like, really. But what I've found, I mean, we've been on tour all year. I think we started off in Australia, and we've been all around Europe and everywhere. You know, people are universal, really. We're all the same underneath. We all have the same problems, you know.
Yes.
We all drink too much and have the hangovers. We have the happy times, the bad times.
We have a drink present for you.
Yeah. The philosophical times. And that's what's very good, you know. When you're young and you've never been anywhere, like, really, I hadn't been out of the country before we started in punk rock. And growing up listening to music, you do wonder what other people listen to, or kind of, you know, how it's seen in different countries. Just, we're kind of spoiled in Britain where there was all the 60s culture and 50s. But I think we were everywhere, you know. I did see a program about Russia where they couldn't get the Beatles records in the early days, and there was said you could make a record in a booth. It was an amazing program. Make a record in a booth. Somebody had smuggled the Beatles record in on a cassette and made the record for it, and you had to pass that around. And also the bands had to, there were some speakers on the corner of your street that take the speaker down, nick the speaker, and then, you know, plug their guitar through it. I thought that was amazing, you know. That's very punk rock, you know.
Do you remember the first bands or maybe songs that inspired you to play music?
Well, yeah, things like Chuck Berry and Elvis was always there, you know. But then I kind of, you know, so I've heard Chuck Berry and Little Richard and stuff like that. It was like rock and roll coming from America. And that was pretty wild and exciting. And then the Beatles came along, and it was like, wow, they write these tunes and all that. Then the Rolling Stones and the Who, the Kinks.
All the 60s.
Yeah, all the 60s, yeah. That's kind of, when I was about 10 years old, I hit that at the right time, really. Actually earlier, about 8 years old. So that all hit me, and it was like a lot of cultural things happening, design, art, everything, you know, the clothes. It was like, from the austere 50s, the post-war kind of Britain opened out with this music, sort of opened everything out, changed a lot of things in Britain and the world, you know. So I kind of grew up with that, so you're kind of used to that revolutionary thing in a way, too about Solzhenitsyn and stuff. That was our kind of revolution, you know, and so there was all that, and also Bob Dylan, somebody across a girl across the road, a friend of mine had Bob Dylan back in 1963, and the first Beatles album, and that's when I first heard those two albums.
And how do you think you create your own style?
Well,
Buzzcocks style is very original.
It all feeds off each other in one way. Those things are in your mind, but by the time of the 70s, you had progressive rock bands doing long songs and
And drum
and the
solos.
world had changed, yeah. And the world had changed. You know, some of them were good. You know, Led Zeppelin are great. I love Led Zeppelin and things like that. But it was other ones. It sort of lost its way. You know, each time has its time for a moment and brings something to think about and enjoy. And then it was like we were coming up to 20 years old and thinking we need some excitement. You know. Oh, I remember thinking like bands like The Who did have 3-minute songs and smash the gear up. You know. Tell people to fuck off, and you know, it wasn't like, look, enjoy this. It made you think. It was kind of that punk thing. There was that Dadaist moment where they ripped things up, threw it in the air and see what happened when it landed. And that was kind of like how punk started in a way. Let's see what happens to this. There was a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of frustration, you know, a lot of unemployment, a lot of austerity, and the punk rock opened that up and turned people around, you know. And in Britain, it went like a carpet bomb. It was like from word of mouth to different towns. It was faster than an email, which was pretty amazing. He's like, how do you know about this in a town? But it was all through the records, you know. The little 7-inch record, you know, people would get it in the different towns. And a lot of people felt the same way, you know, they needed some excitement, they needed the songs and all that. In terms of how we got our sound, it was like, we wasn't that very good. We wasn't like, you know, some people start covering people's songs and playing in bars and doing all that.
No, you played your own.
We played our own because it was easier. And also there was no time for learning, you know. It seemed pointless, you know, like being a covers band. We had these ideas and these songs. So it was like, let's do that and sing about what's happening now, you know, to us. And of course one of the early songs was called Boredom, you know, an Orgasm Addict, very direct song.
Yes, I've got one story.
But the record company said we put our own record out, and then you couldn't keep doing that all the time because we had to, it's a lot of work, so, you know, we just started doing shows. And then we signed to a record company and we said the first song's going to be called Orgasm Addict. And the people at the pressing plant wouldn't print it at first. They said, you know, this is like disgusting, it's filth, you know. And we're going, no, this is art, you know. But the record was delayed for 3 weeks until they convinced the people that made the records that it was an art statement as well, you know.
You said about boredom. 2 years ago I was talking to Johnny Tubex from Social Distortion, and he says that boredom is song that inspired him to play guitar. What do you think about American bands that was inspired?
Well, yes, many American bands was inspired by that, and the Buzzcocks in general. I mean, why am I that song? Because that came out in like 1976, very early on. I mean, we'd started the same time as the Sex Pistols and the Clash, the Damned and the Jam. That was the nucleus in 1976. And for us, you know, the Sex Pistols had Anarchy in the UK, the Clash had White Riot, and we had like Boredom, you know. So when people had that, it wasn't well. It wasn't well produced, but it was badly produced in a good way, if you see what I mean. It sounded very different. The sound's like quite rough, but good, very unique sound, and that kind of blew people's minds, really. You know, it's kind of like. It's like, wow, you know, because everything was nice and, you know, West Coast and all that, you know. And suddenly it was like this record, 90 miles an hour coming down the road, or hitting you straight between the eyes, and like, you had to rethink your whole consciousness about what music was doing to you then, you know. And people kind of like that, you know. It's like, you know, this is something speaking to me, speaking to all of us, and it inspired a lot of people, a lot of fans, you know.
You said about Clash and Sex Pistols. It was a good relationship with them.
Oh yes, yes, we knew them well. You know,
So it was not us against them, or?
Oh, it was all part of. It was us against the rest of the world, or whatever we were going against. You know, this energy, this frustration, this kind of statements or questions that needs to be made. And so we were all similar in that way, you know. And at first everybody thought, well, this punk rock, it's all the same, you know. Sex Pistols, Buzzcocks, Clash. And then they realised that it was this attitude, something inside here, you know. The music was one thing, but it inspired people to, it enlightened people, you know, including ourselves, because we didn't have any answers, but we had a few questions, you know, like a proposition, what do you think about this, in a way, you know. The class of '76, all kind of brothers really, comrades, against all this other stuff, you know.
Can you tell something about the Anarchy tour? I know that you toured with Pistols and the Clash.
The Anarchy tour, yes. We did quite a few shows on the Anarchy tour, and that was very exciting, you know. It all seemed like kind of new, you know. Everything, when it first came out, nobody really knew what it was in a way, but you know, a lot of kids on the street knew about it, but the general media didn't know what it was. Record companies, when it first came out, didn't know what it was. They were eventually signing bands not knowing, what is this thing, what's going on? Because it kind of pulled the carpet from under the record company's feet, you know. It wasn't like we'd gone to record companies going, oh, please put a record out, and then they'd say, you can do this, but you can't do that. It was like, we'd put our own out. And so they came to us, you know. And it was like, we don't really need you, really. We made our own, you know, at the time. So, I mean, that was very important, you know. And so we did the Anarchy tour, then we did the White Riot tour with the Clash, you know. So those are two great tours. A lot of people came to them shows, a lot of excitement, you know. Well, people were ripping up the seats in the halls and stuff. And the security going, what's going on? They just didn't expect that kind of thing, you know.
Is it different things tour back then and tour now?
Well, that kind of thing, that was the youthful side of it, you know what I mean? That was the beginnings of it. And that was before, like, really security. Now security at venues are very serious, you know. Very strict with the phones and this and that. And, that's changed a bit. But if that somebody got on the stage last night and then the security took him off, and I did shout, leave him alone, and hopefully he didn't get thrown out, because it wasn't that bad, you know. Years ago we had lots of people on the stage. They'd jump on and nothing happens, you know. They get involved with it, you know. I mean, they have to go for some point, they can't be there all the show, but it's not a big deal, you know. But now the security's a bit heavy with all that, you know. But to me, I try and say, leave him alone, they're alright, he's managed to get here. And all the guys went, yes.
That's right.
That happened in St. Petersburg last night. He was on the stage and all his friends went, yeah, you know, which is good, you know. It's part of the excitement. So that's a bit more controlled, you know. But from that explosion, then you have to develop as a band, you know. The Clash became the Clash doing their albums. The Pistols only did that one, but we'd start doing more records and different albums. Well, you had to develop it, yeah. You know, it evolved. It evolved, you know. Because you couldn't do the same record every time. It's like, oh, we can do this now, do that. But it still had the excitement and the things we were interested in saying and stuff, you know. But then you realise, then you start to tell the difference with all the bands, you know.
And when do you think you're gonna start a record, a new album? Another 2 years ago you released?
Yeah, we had The Way a few years ago, a couple of years ago, which I really like. I think it's as good as anything we've done, and it's us now, you know. Because you can't really repeat the same thing, but you can, you know, obviously it's going to have the trademarks of what Buzzcocks are. So I thought it was a good album we did there. Whether we'll do another one, I'm not sure yet, you know. We'll see, you know. We've been on tour all year. But I've got a solo album coming out in a bit, because I can do that quicker with the people I work with than getting the band together, you know. Because Pete lives in Estonia now, I live in London, people live all over.
Is it musically different thing, your solo album from the Buzzcocks?
Well, yes, if you're going to do a solo album, there's no point doing. I could do the Buzzcocks, but it's you know, what's the point in that? You need the Buzzcocks to do that, really. Yeah, my no album's a little bit psychedelic as well, a bit different, you know, a little bit more internal. It's like one of them 70s albums before punk in a way, but it has got this punk spirit. But I just painting with different colours, really, you know. So I thought you've got to put yourself in a different area and see what happens with it, you know. Sadly, David Bowie died this year, but I was reading about his Berlin period before he died and stuff. There was this book that came out, and I thought, he said, you know, sometimes you've got to take yourself out of the comfort zone, you know. And it was something like, if you walk in the sea, or maybe I'm making this up now, but it's a similar analogy. Walk in the sea, once your feet go off the ground, he sort of said, but then you know you're in an area that you're not sure of, and that's when you know you might be doing something right for the next thing, you know. So I used a bit of that idea. I thought I got to take myself out a little bit somewhere rather than doing something too easy that you know. So hopefully it'll be a surprise to people, you know. Because to me, well, this will be my 4th album. There's a box set coming out as well of these 4 solo albums. And I try and make them different every time, you know. And hopefully when people hear it, I either want them to really like it or hate it even, you know. But at least you know you're doing something challenging, rather than going, you know, I could just do like a kind of Buzzcocks album. Oh, that's all right. I'm used to that. It's trying to get out of that situation, you know. So that's what I've done with this. It's like, and it's called Inner Space Times. If punk rock sometimes was going outward and looking at society, I've gone inward on this one because we've done a lot of outward stuff. I write a lot of social songs in the Buzzcocks, you know, a bit more slightly political. But this one's a bit more internal, like a journey of who we are inside, you know, which is important to me and hopefully to other people that they can find things, like holding a mirror up to, you know, or the record holding a mirror at you and you go, oh yeah, what's going on inside me as well, you know, that kind of thing. So there's that, you know.
Thank you very much, Steve.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Yes,
well, we'll have a rocking show tonight. That's the main thing, isn't it?
yes, we'll come this.
It's all about the live and the excitement of the people. Like last night was very much like that.
It is for
the people in. Oh, right.
And this is for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's fine, it's the
This is
Russian
for
brain.
for people.
Is it?
Brain.